YouTube, and perhaps Facebook today. But
okay.
So you guys have been busy, huh?
It's crazy. And I've got a hard out at 6:55. I'm on Martha McCallum at 7:05.
Okay, that's good to know. So we're live with everyone, and we'll just click through it. And if we, get close to it, then we'll just get out of this quickly. So so many of our guests, your reputation precedes you. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, especially in the throes of the election. You must be very, very busy. How has your role changed in Trump land since the last election?
Well, in 2016, I had the privilege to serve as the campaign manager, which was the day-to-day management of the entire campaign. Now I serve as the senior advisor, which gives me a lot more flexibility to travel with the president and a lot less responsibility on making sure Mary showed up for work on time and Tommy's dog didn't bother somebody during one of the walks. So I get to focus on big picture strategy, spend my time traveling with the president and preparing him for the upcoming debates that'll start at the end of this month.
And so we're just going to jump into these because I want to get through as many questions from traders as possible. We always start with an overview of the race. So we'll start with Jason Hemmendingers, and I'm going to butcher all these names, I apologize. Question, today there was a poll from 538 A-rated pollster Morning Consult showing a tightening race. What do you think is contributing this, and could Trump take the lead? Of course, polling got it last time. So are there sort of key tells that you're looking for that could show that polling might be getting it wrong this time?
Yeah, look, 538 is usually full of shit, to be honest with you. I know these guys, they predicted Trump was wrong 4 years ago. And, there's no accountability in the polling world when they say things that are completely and factually incorrect. So let me tell you where the race really stands. Donald Trump is going to win by a larger electoral margin in 2020 than he won in 2016. And you say, how is that possible? Because the state of Minnesota, which we lost by just under 45,000 votes or 1.5%, is now trending Republican. The state of Michigan, which until election day, we were not winning in any public or private poll, on Friday posted a 1-point advantage for Donald Trump. We won that state by 10,704 votes, and we feel better today in Michigan than we did 4 years ago. The state of New Hampshire, where we trailed in the ultimate election in 2016 by about 2,700 votes, has us now ahead by about 2 points in that race. So if we carry all of the states that we won in 2016, and there's no reason to believe that Joe Biden has any chance to pick up any of the states we've won. We've just added 10 electoral votes in Minnesota and 4 electoral votes in New Hampshire for an additional 14 electoral votes. That puts Donald Trump over 320 electoral votes. By every definition, that's an electoral blowout, and that's what we're heading towards in November.
Are these internal polls, or are these polls that you're looking at elsewhere?
Well, some of the polls are public, and I don't want to share our internal polls, but any trader could go and see the Michigan poll, which came out on Friday, which shows Donald Trump with a 1-point advantage right now. IBD has traditionally, Investors Business Daily has traditionally been the most accurate polling over the last 4 years. It continues to show us either neck and neck or ahead on a national poll, but I put no solace in national polls. I only care about 14 battleground states. If you tell me we're going to lose the state of California, I'll concede that to you. If you tell me we're going to lose the state of Massachusetts, I'll also concede that. But I can tell you that the Democrats are not going to win in the state of Texas. The state of Florida is in better shape today than it was 4 years ago. Our ground game is stronger. We have more money in the bank, and we have a candidate who has a proven track record of winning.
So I believe the president is in North Carolina today. What's your take on the North Carolina contract? North Carolina is widely considered a battleground state, and until the last couple of weeks was comfortably in favor of Biden, but it shifted towards Trump. I think we're at, 59-ish cents in favor of the president. It's dropped a little bit since this morning. This is one of our traders' questions. He says he doesn't see much rhyme or reason for this, particularly because the market for the favored Democratic candidate for the Senate is at 65%. How do you explain North Carolina and what's going on there?
Look, North Carolina 8 years ago was the only battleground state that Mitt Romney carried. He went into election day down 300,000 votes on election day, and he won that state over Barack Obama, the only battleground state he won. We went in on election day down 150,000 votes. We carried the state of North Carolina by a fair margin. And today, our operation in North Carolina is stronger than ever. We just had our convention in North Carolina. Granted, it was an abridged convention. It was smaller than we had hoped for, but we feel very bullish on North Carolina. It is a very pro-military state. Donald Trump has given the men and women of our military the first large pay raise in 10 years and helped to rebuild our military. So a Democrat has not carried North Carolina in at least 3 presidential elections. That's not going to look to change this cycle.
What do you say about down ballot races? We've seen in a couple different places that the down ballot races, Senate races rather, seem to be a little stronger in favor of a Democratic candidate. Do you think that is going to be a split ticket, or do you think the president's coattails can carry them through if what you saying happens and the president takes the presidency?
Well, it truly depends, because here's why. If you're not on board the Trump train, as we call it, and you're a little bit on board and you're kind of off board, the Trump people know that. And so when you have candidates who are running for office, and sometimes they bash the president, sometimes they suck up to the president, the voters know that. And they are so Trump focused. And look, that's the problem you have in North Carolina. Tom Tillis is the one who wanted to protect Bob Mueller in his investigation. The people of North Carolina have not forgotten that, and that's why he's not running as well in North Carolina as the president is. The converse of that is in the state of Arizona. You've got a Democratic candidate, a former astronaut married to a member of Congress, who is very well known, very high profile, who's outraised his Republican incumbent opponent, who's telling people to go out and split the ticket, vote Donald Trump and vote him, because they understand that Donald Trump is going to run very strong in Arizona. So you've got Democrats in certain states encouraging ticket splitting. And then you've got Republicans in other states. And look, I look at Susan Collins in Maine. I look in, states like that where she has not been the stalwart supporter of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is going to win the 2nd Congressional District of Maine, which allocates their votes proportionately. So look, she has a bit of a difficult race in front of her. Arizona has a difficult race in front of her, but we're on the offense in the U.S. Senate race in Michigan with John James, who's the African-American Republican nominee out there. He's a person, we're running very strong in Michigan. John is helping us, and our campaigns are working very closely together. And I think because of Donald Trump, John James is going to defeat Gary Peters in Michigan.
Well, and to that point, Zach Wilds asked, do you think John James, who's an African-American, can help president with the vote in that state? And how is the president polling in rural areas of that state? And then how is he polling in urban areas?
Well, look, I think John James and our campaign are working very closely together. The public polling data, which I'll talk to just for a second, shows that Donald Trump will receive anywhere between 15 and 24% of the African-American vote. To put that in perspective, 4 years ago, we received 8% of the African-American vote, which was a phenomenal number, the largest number, I think, since Bob Dole received 12% in 1996. Because of the work that Donald Trump has done in the minority communities with economic empowerment zones, with the First Step Act, which is criminal justice reform, and with building an economy that has allowed rising tides to lift all boats, meaning the lowest unemployment rate in the history of the African-American population was obtained under this president in the first 3 years. We see more individuals who have historically voted Democrat coming to vote for Donald Trump, not because he's a Republican, but because he's Donald Trump. And I think that for 30 years, the Democratic Party has taken the Black community for granted. When Barack Obama was on the ticket, a historical candidate, he received 98 and 99% of that vote. Hillary Clinton only received 92%, but the turnout was significantly lower. So what you're going to see in this election is Kamala Harris is Black, but she's not African-American. And there's a clear distinction there. She is not a person who's going to ensure that the African-American community comes to vote for that ticket. And I believe that regardless of who the vice president is, they don't pull as much significance as the person who's at the top of the ticket. And the statements of Joe Biden as of late and his history of calling African-American males pejorative names on the Senate floor are going to be reminded into those communities. And they're going to see what Donald Trump has done, and they're going to turn out in record numbers.
But you can't ignore the backdrop of what's going on in the country right now. There seem to be a lot of unrest, and it doesn't, the large majority of it doesn't seem to be deeply in support of the president. I mean,
Allison, see, I think you're wrong, Allison. There is no community I've ever been to, and I've been to every state in this country all over. Never has somebody said to me, boy, I hope Antifa comes to my home, my school, my business, my place of worship. Never have I come across an urban mom or a suburban mom who said, boy, I really hope my kids get shot walking down the street tomorrow because I want an unsafe environment. Never have I come across somebody who said, I want to see less police on the streets because I want my neighborhood unsafe. This is the myth that the media wants to portray. The truth is, we're a society of law and order. And every person, regardless of your age, your race, your religion, or ethnicity, should have a safe place to worship, to go to school, to live in, to go to businesses in. And that's what Donald Trump has said. Let's put police officers in the streets so you can feel safe. And when we look at our urban communities, our major areas that have historically been run by Democrats for the last 3 decades, we see the untold violence that has taken place. More people have died in the south side of Chicago than in Fallujah in the last 10 years. That's a disgusting fact to me. It's terrible, and we need to do better. But we can't, as an administration, go into those communities without their request. And that's why the president has offered to send our resources to Portland, to Seattle. And what we've seen in Kenosha is as soon as the governor said, please help us, we had people there helping, and the violence was quelled. And it was one night of riots and one person was killed, which is one person too many. But regardless of your age or your ethnicity or your race or any other factor, every person in this country deserves the right to have a safe and secure place to do all of those things. And Donald Trump is the person who is willing to defend the police, and Joe Biden wants to defund the police.
So I want to switch gears a little bit. Andrew Miller, who has actually won our contest for the best question, asked about the president in rural America. So the president won 62% of the rural vote in 2016. I've seen a little bit of reporting about, considerations behind trade and how some farmers, have been impacted by that. How much of that vote can he count on this time?
Well, look, it used to be that the state of Iowa was a toss-up state. It was a battleground state. The state of Ohio, which they claim, I always say they, we call them the experts, the professional pundits, the guys who are basically full of shit, say Ohio is a microcosm of the United States. If that's the case, then the Democrats are in big trouble because Donald Trump is going to carry Ohio. We won Ohio by 8 points last cycle, and they're not even competing there anymore. They're not competing because they know that they don't have a story. And you've got big places like Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. You've got rural areas like Belmont County. You've got urban areas. You've got suburban areas. Ohio is the microcosm of the United States, and Donald Trump is dominating that. The Democrats aren't competing. Same is true in Iowa. And look, if you go to the Midwest, the upper Midwest, the industrial Midwest, 500,000 new manufacturing jobs have returned under this administration. The repatriation of money and jobs from overseas has benefited everybody. The trade deal with China, phase 1, has helped farmers. This president has forced China to buy our products. And if they haven't, then we will put a tariff on theirs coming in. And that is completely contrary to what previous administrations have done, both Republicans and Democrats alike. Donald Trump has used the power of the tariff to ensure that if you build it in America, you have a fighting chance to succeed. If you're going to build it overseas and import it here, we're not going to allow it because we're the greatest workforce in the history of the world, but we have to have a level playing field.
So I'd like to ask you about mail-in voting. We have a market up on, when the presidential election will be called. Do you think that mail-in voting will impact when the race is ultimately called?
I do, and I'll tell you why. Okay. Yeah, look at historically, okay, just in the last 4 months, we've seen in the state of New York, they had a race for Congress in Carolyn Maloney's seat, a very safe Democrat seat. She was running in a contested primary. It took them 7 weeks to tell us the outcome of one congressional election, which encompasses about 900,000 people. They couldn't count the ballots for 7 weeks until we pointed out. The same is true across the river in New Jersey. Let me give you a different example, which is not directly on point, but another similar example. In the primary election process this year for president in the state of Iowa, 100,000+ votes were cast, just shy of 105,000 votes. It took them a week to count the ballots to tell us who won the Iowa caucus. Now, this isn't brain surgery. We got to count to 105,000 and Bernie got 10,000 and Joe got 5 or whatever it was. We can add it up pretty quickly. My 9-year-old can do this math, okay? But it took them a week to tell us who won the Iowa caucus. So I'm concerned with mail-in ballots because our system is fundamentally flawed. Our system is flawed because while we are the greatest democracy in the world, we've never had a true integrity issue when it comes to our ballots because people have always just assumed it's been done properly. But now that we are flooding the market with ballots, sending them to people who've requested them or haven't requested them, and relying on those state bureaucrats to turn around and count those ballots appropriately, we have a massive election day operation. And my prediction, and you guys are in the prediction business, is election day is going to come and go, and we're not going to know who the winner is.
Do you have an estimate of how long it'll take?
Well, remember last time we waited until 3 o'clock in the morning and it was a rout. I mean, Donald Trump got over 300 electoral votes and we had to wait till 3 o'clock in the morning. The Bush v. Gore election, right, took weeks to figure out because of the hanging chads that took place down in Florida. And if we've got to count ballots in the state of Florida alone, 8.5 million ballots or more are going to be counted. This could go on for days or weeks with massive resources being expended to ensure that these places that are ripe for fraud are doing this properly. And, I don't know what the data is going to be, but I'm willing to bet, and you guys are in the betting business, it's not going to be on election night.
So we have very little time left. We're going to bring in John Phillips, who is going to do our lightning round real quick. So as long as John gets his video up and running, we can knock through.
Hey, Corey.
Hi, brother. How are you?
Welcome. Okay, Allison, great job. Thank you very much. So Corey, I get to do the lightning round with you. I know you talked about Michigan. John James at 26% odds, 4-1. You take him?
I'd buy him. I'd buy John right now. Look, I'm going to Michigan on the 17th of September to do a fundraiser for John. I love his story. I love the state of Michigan. I love how Donald Trump is doing there. And I love the fact that Joe Biden refuses to campaign. So right now, today, as we sit here, I'm a buyer of John James.
All right. Okay. Montana Senate. On Real Clear Politics, we see Daines ahead of Bullock by 6 points, and our markets reflect the same sentiment. The switch came around August 3rd when the Emerson poll came out. What is a safe buy or sell here?
Look, Daines is going to win that race. He's going to win primarily because Trump is going to carry Montana by double digits. He's going to pull Daines across the line there. He's a good candidate, but they put up the best possible candidate to run against him in that Senate seat. Look, if you're 55 or over with Daines, that's going to be a moneymaker for you.
Okay. And then Hunter Biden, there's been a lot said about him. So what are the odds that he's going to be charged by December 31st? We show it as 1 in 10.
I think that's an aggressive number, to be honest with you. I'd love to see him being charged for all of the crimes that he's committed. I just don't think it's going to be by December 31st. And I think that we're waiting on the Durham investigation to give us more information on Comey, Clapper, Brendan McCabe, Strzok, and Page. That's going to be the next shoe to drop. And my prediction, if you're in the business, is we're going to see more information coming out of the DNI, Director of National Intelligence, in the next 2 weeks.
So you're saying one out of 10 odds, it's low, it's a buy.
I don't think Hunter's going to get popped before the end of the year. That's my opinion.
You don't?
I do not.
All right. And then New Hampshire. Talk to us about New Hampshire. You know a thing or two about that.
Look, I know it well. It's a state that Donald Trump can win. Lost it by under 2,800 votes last time. We had a Republican U.S. senator who didn't support the ticket. The state has done very well economically. The rebound has been quick. The unemployment rate is under 6% right now, which is much lower than the national average. So he was up campaigning on Friday in New Hampshire. I was with him. We had 8,000 people at a rally. People there are fired up for Donald Trump. And Joe Biden has never done well in New Hampshire. He finished 5th in the primary up there this year and has really no infrastructure. So I like our odds a lot in New Hampshire. I think it's a pickup for Trump come November.
Okay. Will the president win any states he lost in 2016?
Michigan and New Hampshire. I'm sorry, Minnesota and New Hampshire.
Minnesota and New Hampshire. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And then we have a trader, Edwin Lee. I'm getting to the end of these, Corey. Bear with me. I know you got to go. Along with the down ballot, the market for net pickup in Senate races shows the Dems leading. Where do you see this going, and where are you buying?
Yeah, look, I agree. The Democrats are going to pick up probably in Arizona, but I think we pick up in Alabama. That puts us at a 0-0, right? The race in Maine is a battleground for us. And look, Susan wins a lot up there, but it's a tough year. We have the potential to lose 2 seats with the Alabama pickup, which would basically put us even. So we've got some work to do in our Senate races, and it's all going to depend on how Donald Trump performs. Look, they're telling us South Carolina Senate race is competitive. I don't believe that. They tell us the Kentucky Senate race is competitive. I don't believe that either. It's just not true. So Mitch is going to win. Lindsey is going to win in those places. Donald Trump is going to help in both of those races. I think Daines stays. I think we have a chance with John James in Michigan. I think he wins. And Susan Collins may be in trouble. But I really think the only race that we absolutely don't win, and I hate to say it, is the Arizona Senate race, but we pick up Alabama.
Last question from me in the lightning round, Corey. Joe Biden, the odds that he'll drop out,
0.
10. What do you
Zero.
in that or no?
0. Look, Jesus Christ himself couldn't get Joe out of this race. He's been running for president for 35 years. There's no way this guy, he doesn't even know he's in the race, so he's not getting out.
Right. And the chance that Trump will get out.
10 billion minus 0. I was with the guy Friday. There's Jesus, John. Come on. That's like
Okay,
you
listen.
the company tomorrow.
Thanks for that, Corey, and thanks for coming on. We want to let you talk a little bit about the book. So I'll send it back to Allison.
So you have your book coming out September 29th. You and David Bossie have co-authored, 2 previous books, I believe. Why this book? Why now? What do you hope people take away from it?
Well, this book is called Trump America First. It's about the first half of the campaign before we went into the coronavirus pandemic. But it's also about the reason to reelect Donald Trump, whether it's the federal judiciary, whether it's trade or immigration, whether it's about rebuilding our military or making our allies pay their fair share. We write a chapter on each of these things, and we lay out the case against Joe Biden and why he's not capable or competent to be the commander in chief of the greatest military the world has ever seen. So this book is called Trump America First. It's the philosophy that he has believed in since coming down that escalator, and that's what's going to lead us to a great economic prosperity and a quick rebound following this corona pandemic.
Well, and if you guys want to pre-order the book, we have the link in the chat. Corey Lewandowski, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. We know you have to go, so we'll let you go, and I will make a couple more notes.
7 minutes. Tune in to Martha on Fox.
Take care. Thank you again, Corey.
Bye.
Bye. So we will, I just want to thank everybody so much. I know we had to get Corey in and out of here pretty quickly. We'll have CBSN contributor Antoine Seawright on next week. If you've seen him on CBS, you know he's fantastic. I'm excited about having him on, John. I think that he'll be great, and he knows his stuff up and down ballots at the national level and individual races. So we'll continue to push to get people, talking about individual races, get those really good nuggets of information. And thank you all so much for joining us. Again, you can email press@predictit.org with any suggestions. If you'd like to see anybody that we haven't had on, feel free to let us know and email your questions to us there. So thank you all so much. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you. Good night.